5 Champions Leagues, 5 Ballon d'Ors, 976 career goals, 1 European Championship, but not a single World Cup.
Moves inside Ronaldo!
Right, Cristiano Ronaldo though goes for goal from Cristiano Ronaldo!
That gap between everything Cristiano Ronaldo achieved and the one thing he could not isn't a small detail in his story. It's the central wound, the one that never closed, the one that Messi finally closed in Qatar on December 18th, 2022, while Ronaldo watched from a couch in Saudi Arabia. And also in 2026, he walked off the pitch in Arlington, Texas with his head held high. Portugal had just lost 1-0 to Spain. Mikel Merino scored the only goal in the 91st minute. Ronaldo had 2 shots. Neither hit the target. 23 years of professional football, 6 World Cups, and it ended like this, quietly, in a knockout round, against the same country that had knocked Portugal out before. It was a quiet end for a man who had never been quiet about anything. But here is what most people will get wrong about this moment. They will frame it as the story of the trophy he never won. But if you actually go through what this man did across 6 World Cups, the numbers, the moments, the psychology, the version of himself he had to become just to keep showing up, the story is far more complicated than that, and far more worth understanding. Start with the number that Ronaldo has known for 20 years. Researchers who have studied the GOAT debate estimate that a World Cup is worth roughly a 16% shift in how casual fans rank the greatest players. In a conversation decided by margins so thin that a single Ballon d'Or can shift it, that is not a footnote. That is the whole argument. And here is what makes that number so specifically painful in Ronaldo's case. He is not a player who lost the GOAT debate on merit. He is the all-time leading scorer in the history of international men's football. 146 goals in 232 appearances for Portugal, a record that no other player has come within 30 goals of. He is the all-time top scorer in the history of the UEFA Champions League. Over 140 goals in the most competitive club competition on earth. He is Real Madrid's all-time leading scorer with 451 goals in 438 appearances. He won 4 European Golden Shoes, 3 UEFA Men's Player of the Year awards, 5 Ballon d'Ors in 2008, 2013, 2014, 2016, and 2017. He is the only player in the history of the European Championship to score in 5 different tournaments. By every individual measure that exists in football, his career is the most statistically extraordinary the sport has ever produced. And yet in the minds of casual fans across the world, one simple hierarchy exists. A World Cup sits above all of it. Not because it is necessarily harder to win. The Champions League argument is legitimate, and the people who make it are not wrong, but because of what a World Cup offers that nothing else in football can provide. Instant immortality, the kind that does not require context or explanation. Maradona won 1 World Cup. In the collective imagination, he is a god. Pelé won 3. He is the eternal king, a title that has survived 60 years. But to understand why the World Cup consumed him so completely, why a man with 5 Champions Leagues and 5 Ballon d'Ors was willing to rebuild his entire career around one more shot at a tournament he had never won, you have to go back to a 30-square-meter house on an island and a 12-year-old boy crying alone in a locker room. February 5th, 1985. Funchal, Madeira. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos. Aveiro is born into a family with almost nothing. His father was an alcoholic. His mother is a domestic worker. 5 people in 2 bedrooms. The kind of poverty that does not leave you when you escape it. It becomes the engine. At 12 years old, he was sent alone to Lisbon to join Sporting's academy. The poor kid from the island, surrounded by children from wealthy families. He was bullied for his Madeiran accent. He cried alone in the locker room at night. He missed his mother. He missed everything familiar. Something broke inside him in those years. And then something harder formed in its place. He decided, at 12 years old, alone in a city that did not feel like it belonged to him, that no one would ever look at him with pity again. That promise became an obsession that never switched off for the next 3 decades. First player to arrive at training, last to leave. Perfect diet when teammates ate whatever they wanted. Cryotherapy at midnight. Video analysis until 2 in the morning. sleep optimization, body fat percentages that professional athletes half his age could not achieve. It was not dedication anymore. It was pathological. And the most unsettling part of his career is that it worked. Every single time. Go back to 2006, Germany, the first chapter. Ronaldo was 21 years old. He had not yet won a single major trophy. All movement and tricks and raw promise. Portugal reached the semifinals, their best World Cup in 40 years, and were knocked out by France. Ronaldo scored 1 goal. He wept on the pitch at the final whistle. He was 21. He genuinely believed the next one would be different. 2010, South Africa. He arrived as the most expensive player in football history, freshly sold to Real Madrid for £80 million. He had just won his first Ballon d'Or in 2008 and his first Champions League with Manchester United. He was the best player on earth by most serious measures. Portugal went out in the round of 16, beaten by Spain, the team that won the tournament. 1 goal. The talent was there. The moment was not. 2011, Brazil. Back-to-back Ballon d'Or winner in 2013 and 2014. 4 European golden shoes by this point. Carrying a squad that had no realistic business competing with the best in the world on collective talent. He arrived in Brazil carrying a knee injury. Germany beat Portugal 4-0 in the group stage. He scored once, against the United States. It was not enough. 2012, Russia. This was the one that finally delivered the version of Ronaldo the reputation had always promised. Against Spain in the opening group game, he scored a hat-trick. The third goal, a free kick in the 88th minute, bent in a way that defied physics. It drew the game to 3-3 and sent an entire planet to its feet. The greatest individual performance of his World Cup career. A worldie that the sport will never stop showing. Portugal still went out in the round of 16, beaten by Uruguay. One extraordinary game. Then, nothing. 2013, Qatar. He arrived under the darkest cloud of his career. His public falling out with Manchester United, broadcast in an interview days before Portugal's first match, had made him a controversy before a ball was kicked. He was dropped to the bench for the knockout rounds. His replacement, Gonçalo Ramos, a 21-year-old who had never started a World Cup match, scored a hat-trick in the round of 16. Ronaldo watched from the sidelines. Every camera found his face when the goals went in. When Portugal were knocked out by Morocco in the quarterfinals, he walked down the tunnel alone. The cameras caught him crying. Properly, not the managed emotion of a man thinking about his image. Something that looked like grief. It was the first time most people had ever seen him look genuinely broken. And then, 2026. He scored in the group stage. Went quiet. The kind of quiet his critics circle like journalists outside a press conference, waiting for it to mean something permanent. Then produced a brace that made the whole story feel like it had one more turn in it. Like the ending was not yet written. He scored a penalty against Croatia in the round of 32. At 41 years old. In a knockout match. The stage that had ended his tournaments again and again for 2 decades. He became the first player in the history of the competition to score in 6 different World Cups. 2006, 2010, 2014, 2018, 2022, and 2026. At 41 years and 138 days old, he became the oldest player to score a brace at a World Cup, behind only Roger Milla of Cameroon. He surpassed Eusebio as Portugal's all-time top scorer at the tournament. He extended his own record as the all-time leading scorer in international men's football to 146 goals. And then Spain arrived. Mikel Merino, 91st minute, 1-0. He walked off with his head held high. Before the match, he had said, "Whatever happens tomorrow, Cristiano Ronaldo will leave with a clear conscience. Not 100%, but 1,000%. Because in life and football, I gave everything." When asked about 23 years of public criticism, "You have been trying to kill me for the past 23 years, but you must have seen that is not worth it. I will stop when I choose, not when you choose. I even say thanks for the attacks I feel after I turned 40. The criticism is how you grow." Here is what the GOAT debate almost always misses. Portugal before Ronaldo had never won a major international trophy, not once in their entire history. He gave them Euro 2016, 2 Nations League titles, 2019 and 2025. He gave a country of 10 million people the belief that they belonged on the same stage as Brazil, Germany, France, and Spain. Ian Wright said it plainly. He literally put them on the football map. The record book he leaves behind is unlike anything the sport has produced before. 5 Champions Leagues, 5 Ballon d'Ors, 4 European Golden Shoes, the all-time leading scorer in Champions League history, the all-time leading scorer in international men's football, Real Madrid's all-time top scorer, 451 goals in 438 appearances, the only player to score in 5 different European Championship tournaments, the first male player to score in 6 different World Cups, and 976 official career goals, 24 away from 1,000. The first player in the history of football to reach that number, if he gets there. He has said it himself. You know what my goal is. I want to reach that number that you all know. I will reach it for sure, if there are no injuries. He will keep playing, he will keep scoring. And one day he will score goal number 1,000, and the record will be his. Clean. Permanent. Unbeatable by definition. A World Cup by itself does not define the greatest of all time, but it carries a weight in casual conversation that nothing else matches. He grew up with nothing in Madeira and made himself into the most statistically extraordinary footballer the sport has ever produced.